Today I want to share with you an entire drugstore, super affordable makeup routine and sharing how I go from this to this. I want to share with you the most amazing drugstore foundation that I cannot believe I overlooked it for the past couple months until recently one of you guys commented telling me how amazing this product is, and I thought, I've seen that so many times, and I went back and I got it and I am blown away. This, I think, is by far the best drugstore foundation that is on the market, and it's under $5. I've already done my morning skincare and I've already applied my moisturizer, SPF, and my makeup primer. I used this product right here. This is by the brand Dermatology. This is their moisturizing tinted sunscreen. So this is my moisturizer, my sunscreen, but it also works as a really good makeup primer. So I don't have to do all of those extra steps. And everything I talk about in this video, hopefully I don't forget to mention any of the names, but everything I talk about, I will link every item below this video in the description box, and some products I do have discount codes for. For my foundation today, I'm going to use this one by Wet n Wild. This is their Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator. And I overlooked this for the past couple months or 3 months that it's been out because it said tinted hydrator. And I thought, well, I don't really need that because that's already in my sunscreen. But this is not just a hydrator, this is actually a sheer to medium coverage foundation. And you know, for $4, you can't beat the price, but it's not just the price that I love. This to me is very comparable to a lot of really pricey foundations. I have combination to oily skin and I absolutely love this on my skin, but I think if you have normal or dry skin, this would be absolutely amazing. This feels super lightweight, but gives me a good enough coverage on my skin, and it also has hyaluronic acid, which helps to hydrate and plump up my skin, and then it also has squalane, which is nice and moisturizing for my skin. Now, I will say I've tried it with a ton of different sunscreens on first, and I do have sunscreen on today, and I still really like it with a moisturizing sunscreen underneath. But this to me is probably my favorite for the evening because, you know, if I get ready to go out at night, I'm not going to put a sunscreen on. This is so perfect because it is your moisturizer and your foundation all in one. I got the shade medium tan and this matches my skin perfectly. I want to zoom in a little bit more so you can see because I know these bathroom lights up here are kind of bright and leaves a glare. But okay, that's probably way too close, but so you can still see, let me get it to focus. You can still see some of my hyperpigmentation here, but for the most part, this gives such a beautiful coverage. Let me zoom out so you don't just see an eyeball. Now, if I wanted to, I could put a little bit more here, or I could just use a concealer to cover that up. But look how this shade matches my skin perfectly. So if you have like medium skin with that kind of yellow undertone, medium tan is a perfect shade. I think this is really pretty. I mean, I know I look crazy because I put some on my lips to prepare my lips for my lipstick, but just the coverage this gives, and this was just one coat that I put on. It feels so lightweight, doesn't feel like I have anything on my face at all. So if you're someone who hates to wear foundation because it feels like you have something on your face, this just feels like I put a moisturizer on. But I mean, I have really good coverage for one coat. I think they should change the name to a foundation because I wonder if other people overlooked this at the store the same way I did. Since it says tinted hydrator, I figured I don't need another one of those. But if they called it a foundation, I bet it would completely sell out everywhere, especially for the price. But again, I don't only love this because of the price. If you put some fancy bougie name on it and marked up the price to like $50, I would still be absolutely blown away by this. If you have dry skin, I think you're going to love this because of the hyaluronic acid and the squalane that's in it. Look, I have such a nice glow, and it's pretty much already drying down, so it's not greasy or oily on my skin. It just kind of sets the skin with a nice glow. Now, during the day when I use this, of course, I'm using my sunscreen first. I do like to set this with a little bit of powder. Typically, I don't use powder on my face. I haven't used it for maybe 6 months because I feel like the older I'm getting, I want my makeup to look more natural, more skin-like, and I don't want it to have like that powdery cakiness to it. But I will set this after I do my concealer with my favorite face powder. This is by the brand Well People. This is supposed to be a clean powder. It doesn't have, I don't think it has talc and any of the bad ingredients, but this is their Bio Brightening Invisible Powder. This is so finely milled. This is better than any high-end expensive face powder. And this is one powder that doesn't leave my face looking cakey. It is just such a light, sheer, fine coverage, but it's perfect if you need to set your foundation. For my under eyes, I picked this one up the other day. This is by Drew Barrymore Flower Beauty, and this is like a peach under eye corrector, and I thought, you know what, let me just try it because I don't sleep that great all the time anymore, so when I look down, you can kind of see the shadow of, you know, where that hollowing, and then there's like a little bag over it, and I don't want to get fillers or anything like that to fix it, so, you know, if I can, I can just camouflage it with a little makeup. Just like kind of a light, peachy color, and it's a hard, almost like a really hard balm. Only a smidge is all you need. And I don't really know if it makes that big of a difference, but let me just show you. I have the smallest amount on my finger, and then I just lightly pat it. Well, maybe I'll do a little more right there. And then I just lightly pat it where that dark shadow is. So I do think it helps a little bit. But when you look straight on versus, you know, how often am I doing this? But when you look straight on and apply it, I do think it seems to make a smidgy of a difference. Not enough that I feel like, you know, you need to run out and buy this right away. But, you know, if you have a little bit of mild color correcting to do, I think this is a really nice product. And I've even been using it on some of my like darker pigment spots here that I want to, you know, kind of mask. And the concealer I'm going to use is this one by Revlon. It's my favorite drugstore concealer. I've probably bought 5 of these. It's their Candid Concealer, and I got the shade Sand in this. I guess it's not just an under eye concealer. I pretty much put it all over my face to highlight certain areas. Now I'm going to put a little bit of this powder on, and I'm going to use this super cheap Wet n Wild brush. This is my favorite brush, even out of any expensive brushes. Actually, all the brushes I'm going to use today are by Wet n Wild. Honestly, if you're looking for makeup brushes but you don't want to spend the high price of other makeup brushes, these are quality brushes, but they are so cheap. I'm going to link them down below. I think I got some of these for like 79 cents. So cheap. I would pay so much more for these. Now that my foundation and concealer is set with that super light dusting of powder, I'm going to go ahead and put my blush on. This one, when I first saw it, I was like, ew, I wouldn't wear that color. This is not what this looks like on the face. I was looking for kind of like a bubblegum pink with the purple undertone, not the orangey undertone. And I was searching on Amazon and I came across this. Let me show you how beautiful this is. And I'm gonna use that same Wet n Wild brush that I just used for the powder, but this is what I always use for my blush. And let me just show, actually, let me show you on my finger first. So it kind of looks purpley on the finger. Let me show you what it looks like on my cheeks. It is so pretty. It's very light also. So if you are one of those people like me who you get those really pigmented blushes and then afterwards you look like a complete clown, like I normally do, this is perfect, especially for beginners, or if you just want that little pop of color to your face. I just put a little on. It's not purple on my face. It just kind of gives that pretty natural pinky color. There's no sparkles or glitter in this. This is kind of like a natural matte finish, but it doesn't make my face look dry and cracky. I'll zoom in again so you can kind of just see what it looks like. So I still have a glow because the bathroom lights are shining, but it just blends in nicely with my skin. I just think this is such a beautiful color. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I don't normally contour my face. I just slap on a little bronzer. This is a contour stick from Kiko Cosmetics. When I was in Italy a couple years ago, I saw this store everywhere, and so I bought a bunch of stuff from there. But I was browsing on Amazon and I saw that they sell this on Amazon as well. So I wanted to pick this up because I don't really contour my face, to be honest. I just slap on a little bronzer. This is the bronzer that I most often wear. Clearly I love this bronzer, but I think this is in the shade 200. But again, I'm gonna link everything down below. But I wanted to try this contour sculpting stick just to see, you know, if I can like carve out my cheekbones and make it easier instead of bronzing up my face. I got this one in the shade 201, and it very well could be too dark for me, but I haven't tried this yet. It might not be too dark. We're gonna see. Let's blend it first. I got this Wet n Wild brush. This is their, I don't know which one this is, but again, I'll link this down below. I think this was $1. You could probably use your fingers, but I just want to use this flat brush. These bristles are so soft, by the way, on these Wet n Wild ones. If they changed the name and use like a fancier looking handle, you would honestly think that these are super expensive brushes. Okay, I did it really light, so I don't know. I'll just try it a little bit darker on this side and see. So I'm just trying to carve out cheeks. Now, as you can tell, I already have really high cheekbones, but you know, this is just something fun I wanted to try. And by the way, these cheeks are not fillers. I was born with cheeks like this. Maybe my finger would be easier. I kind of like this. I feel like it looks natural, but I don't know what it's gonna look like when I edit this video, but in this little mirror, like on the viewfinder, I think it looks kind of nice. Let me try a little bit up here and see. What I am liking is not a bunch comes out. You know how some of those other sticks, I've tried them before, I just didn't like them, and that's probably why I never contour, but they were too mushy. This is kind of hard. Like, it's very hard to push in on this. So it's just like a sheer amount that is coming out. Let me just blend this and see what this is like. Ooh, this is really pretty. And I like this shade that I got because it's not orangey at all. You know, some bronzers or contour sticks are orange. I mean, who wants to look orange when they do their makeup? Let me just do a little here. I always like to put a little bronzer right here because it kind of makes your bottom lip look bigger. I don't really know if that works, but I'm not a makeup artist, by the way, if you haven't figured that one out yet. And I'm gonna try to contour my nose. I really actually like my nose. I don't think I have a super fat nose. A little fat, but that's okay. I'm just gonna try it and see. That was crooked, but. Oh, and then I could also, let me try it. You know how sometimes I'll put bronzer here to kind of get rid of this little double chin part. I just wanna see what that will look like. If it even really makes a difference. I really like this though. Next I'm gonna do my brows, but before I do that I wanna put a little eyeshadow primer on. This is by the brand Milani. I've used this one. This is probably my third tube, and one of these will last like well over a year. And I blend this all over, all the way up to the brow bone. For my brows, I'm gonna use this one by LA Girl. It's like a brow pomade, and I got this in the shade Taupe. I think that this one is better than Anastasia. It's better than probably most of the brow pomades on the market, and what I love is it's waterproof. It stays put. You know how some of those brow products, they kind of like, if you touch it, it'll wipe off. Once this is on, this doesn't budge until you take it off. And for the brow brush, I'm gonna use this one by e.l.f. I love this brush. It's got the spoolie and this super thin, sharp little tip on the end. But this is better than any expensive one. So e.l.f. and Wet n Wild have some really good quality brushes. And before I do this, I always like to take off any foundation or anything that kind of got stuck in my eyebrows, because if I don't wipe off the brows first, I notice the brow product just doesn't look as good. And if you want to know a super fast and easy way to do your brows, especially if you don't really have many brows and you need to know how to shape them and how to draw them on, I will link that video. I'll try to put it up here and I'll link it down below. It is the easiest brow hack ever. You can use any brow product, a pomade, a pencil, a brow pen, whatever you want. It literally takes seconds, I mean seconds, to do this brow hack, and I will link that video below. If I want to make my brow look a little more sharp and cleaned up, I'll just take a little of my concealer, put it on the brush. With the flat edge, I just kind of clean up whatever I did to make it go past that line, so that this way it's a little more sharp and precise. You know, sometimes when you're using that spoolie, some of the brow product kind of gets all over, and this just kind of just makes it look a little more neat. This is just an extra step I'll do if I have extra time. And then I just take my sponge and just kind of press over it, or I'll just use my finger to make sure it's all blended. For my eyeshadow, I'm gonna use these three brushes by Wet n Wild. Again, I love these brushes so much. You just don't need to spend a ton of money on brushes, especially if you're on a budget. These perform even better than some of the expensive brushes. And for my eyeshadow, I'm gonna use this little palette by Pacifica. This is what this palette looks like. I think this is called their Pink Nudes palette, but these are more like peachy, brown, but not like bright oranges or anything like that. This is just a very neutral, perfect daytime palette. This is perfect, especially if you're someone like me who sometimes those super pigmented eyeshadows, if you're not that skilled with makeup, like, you know, I'm not, sometimes when I get those really popular pigmented eyeshadows and I put it on, I'm like, oh crap, what do I do now? Because it's just too much blending for me. So sometimes when I just want to keep it simple, I like to use a really good quality palette that the eyeshadows are super creamy and blendable, and there's good pigment in these, but it's not that kind of pigment that if you know, put it in the wrong spot on your eyes, it's never gonna blend out. These are perfect for beginners. You know, maybe if your young daughter wants to start wearing eyeshadow, this might be a nice palette for her. It's vegan, it's cruelty-free, and you can get this at like Whole Foods, but I just picked mine up on Amazon. I'm probably just gonna use 3 or 4 of these shades for today's eye look. I'm gonna put this shade all over the eye to set my eye primer, and then I'll probably put this one in the crease and then kind of build it up with this shade in the crease, and then maybe just do this in the outer V, and that's really it. And then I just want to blend everything on my eyes just to kind of soften the edges, but I always want to use a very clean brush for that. And I guess I could buy another one of these since these are so inexpensive, but I'm just going to use this brush. It's like an eyeshadow remover. There's no chemicals or anything crazy in here. It just cleans off the brushes super fast and easy. And once this is all nice and blended, I'm just going to take this same shade that I set my eye primer with, and I put it on my finger, and I'm just going to put it on the lid of my eye. I always like to brighten up the inner corner of my eye, so I'm just going to take a little of this kind of whitish, creamy shade and pop that right where that dark shadow is. And sometimes, if I want to even make my brows look even more lifted, I'll take a little bit of this shade also and just put a smidge right underneath the brow bone, and it just kind of lifts up the brow even more. But I think my brows are pretty lifted, so I don't really need to do that often. Now, I don't usually use eyeliner on my top lids because I have such a small lid space. It's hard to tell when my eyes are done, but let me zoom in really, really close and see if you can tell. Might be a little blurry because it's too close. But if you look, when my eyes are fully open, I do have a little bit of skin, this part right here. And it's not as bad today. Some days the hoods on my eyes are really bad. But the way I do my eyeshadow, it kind of makes it not look as hooded. So if I put eyeliner on my top lid, I feel like it's too much, and then it makes this look too dark, and then it really makes my eyes look hooded. So I don't usually do eyeliner. I just do like a darker eyeshadow and just start from here and then do like a slight wing. But I do want to put a little bit of a fun color underneath my eyes just to kind of brighten everything up. This is one of my favorites from NYX. I will link the shade and everything down below because it's too small for me to read this. This is just like a lavender, kind of a silvery lavender, but it's not like in your face bold. But if you want to keep your makeup kind of natural and, you know, still add a pop of color, this is a shade I absolutely love. And I think it kind of makes the color of my eyes stand out a little more. Here, I'll zoom in again because I'm not sure if you can really even see what this looks like. See, so it's just a super light, kind of lavender sparkly color, but it doesn't have chunks of glitter or anything like that in it. And now I don't always do this next step, but I feel like my eyes are a little red, and sometimes, especially if the skin right here is red, if I didn't sleep well. You know, I see a lot of people using like a white eyeliner, but I don't know, I don't really love the white eyeliner. I like the nude skin tone color. So this is one that I love from L'Oreal. This is their, I think, Infallible. I'm not sure the shade, but I will link this one down below. I had to repurchase it the other day because, you know, this one's getting kind of low, and I had the darndest time finding this at any store, so I hope they're not going to discontinue it, but I found one on Amazon, so I bought another one. So see, it's not super obvious. It's not like the white shade, but it just kind of would, if my eyes were pink in there, this would help to make me not look so tired. Now, I don't really use super dark makeup, except for on my cheeks. Usually I add a lot of blush, but if I want to darken up my eyes, I'll either use that same palette, but one that I really like is this one by Burt's Bees. I'll just use, put a little bit on this brush, and this one is nice and pigmented, but it's not crazy to where if you make a mistake, you can't fix it. But then I'll just kind of go over in that outer V and just kind of darken it. I like to pat it because with this, I like to make sure I'm putting it in the right spot. But then I just kind of darken it up. It's like a deep purpley brown, and I like purples with green eyes because it just kind of helps bring the eye color out some. And then I'll also take a little bit and put it underneath. And this just darkens it up a little bit, not a ton, but the reason I wanted to do that is because I want to show you, you know, if I put too much eyeshadow here, it's no big deal. I just take a little concealer and clean that up. And then I don't like it to be a harsh line, so I just kind of always blend it with my finger. For my mascara, these are the two that I've been testing. This is the super popular, I think it's called Sky High from Maybelline, and then this is one from e.l.f. I do really like both of these, but I just keep testing them because I'm trying to decide, like, do I really love these? And I know a lot of you say that this one's fabulous, but I do find that this one sometimes flakes. This one does not flake. So, and I kind of think I'm gonna do one on each eye because I kind of think that this one gives me more lift and volume than this one, but I'm not sure, we'll see. I've been testing a lot of new drugstore products lately, and I don't share them all here on my channel because if I test them and I hate them, I just share them on my Instagram and I give a full review sharing what I like, what I don't like. So if that's something that you're interested in, I also share more personal things on my Instagram, but I'll leave my Instagram channel down below, and if you'd like to follow me there, I'd love to have you there as well. With both of these mascaras, I do feel like I need to curl my lashes. With my City Beauty Beyond mascara, I don't have to curl my lashes, I don't have to do anything. It's like curling my lashes, conditioning my lashes, and I get super long, full, like almost too long lashes with that mascara, but it's not, you know, an inexpensive mascara. So that's why I'm always trying to find super inexpensive products that perform like high-end. And like I said, you know, some high-end products just aren't that great. So I'll put the Sky High on this one, and I'll just do the e.l.f. on this eye. Okay, so I don't have it on the bottom yet, but just so you can kind of see and compare, see how I think this one gives me more lift than this one. Maybe I could try another coat on these, but I just feel like this one is more bold and makes that eye look a little bit better. One thing about these mascaras is they're really wet when you put them on, which is nice because it gives you more time to work with them, but I don't want them, the wetness to touch underneath my eyes. So I just take a little Q-tip and I just kind of brush up underneath and lift them so they're not gonna be putting little dots all over my face. Now I want to do my lips, but I've been talking and I'm sweating. I stepped out a couple times, pushed pause. I want to add a little more blush because my blush is kind of worn off. For my lips today, I am going to use this color from Burt's Bees. When I first saw it, I was like, oh man, that's so dark, but I thought it would look pretty and match my shirt. You can put this on and make it look really sheer and pretty. And then I'm going to use this lip plumper from Physicians Formula. If you want to know my whole review on this product and what I think of this compared to City Lips, I recently posted about this on my Instagram. And then for my liner, I'm going to use this one. I'm not sure how to say it. I think it's Joah, J-O-A-H. It's the brand that's at CVS. And then I'm also going to put just a smidgy of this one by Burt's Bees in the center. This one is more of a matte, but this one is identical to, what are they, by Clinique, Chubby Sticks. This one I think is almost identical. This is not matte. This is just like a really pretty satin lipstick, almost a balm. It almost stains my lips a little bit, this shade, but it doesn't dry them out or anything. But this one I think is really pretty to kind of put in the center. And then I'm just gonna top it with a little bit of this lip plumper. And for my highlighter today, I'm gonna use this one by L'Oreal. It's their Lumi Glow, it's Glotion, their Lumi Glotion. This is such a big tube. I like to even put it, well, that's what I have on today. It makes it, you know, kind of look like my shoulders and arms are in shape when they're really not, but it just gives, you know, that nice, pretty glow to everything. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this on the same way I would a highlighter. And then I'm just gonna use that same blush brush and just use a little bit of my bronzer. I'm just gonna bronze up over top of the contour that I already did, just for some little final touches to my makeup. And I like to set everything in place. Use whatever setting spray you like. If you have oily skin, this is my all-time favorite. I bought like 6 or 7 or I don't know, 10 maybe of these. I don't know if they're going to discontinue this, so I bought a ton of them on their website, but this is by e.l.f. This is their matte blotting mist. You have to shake it up. There's like a marbly bead in here because there's like, I think it's kale and clay, something like that's in here. But you can hear that. I shake it up really well, and then I just cover up my eyes so it doesn't mess with my mascara, and then I just lightly mist it on my face. Especially I try to get it like in my T-zone, and this product right here is why I usually don't use a powder, because this just sets my makeup beautifully like a powder, but it still looks natural. And I'll either let it air dry, or I'll take my handy dandy little fan, and then I'll just dry it a little bit faster. When it's almost completely dry, then I just kind of press that blending sponge over everything just so it all meshes together. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did like this video, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up, and I would love it if you would consider subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate each and every one of you, and I hope you have a wonderful day.